Nice carpet key.
Yeah.
David, move a little bit closer to the microphone. We have a.
So, my name is David Keith Davis, Multnomah County Cop Watch. I realized that this whole board was put together and hand-picked by Ted Wheeler, and it's kind of hard to actually have any faith in anything that Ted Wheeler does, especially, and you know, I do think a couple of you on this board actually do have the intentions for police accountability and actually think you're going to make a difference, but in the end this is not going to make any difference, because this is basically like a puppy dog with no teeth, which has less teeth than the previous board, which wasn't handpicked by Ted Wheeler, that actually did have community input more, COAB. And the first thing that Ted Wheeler did was go in and dissolve COAB, which actually had lawyers that worked on the James Chassis case and a lot of other professional people and others. And I know Sam Sachs has been a correctional guard before. He's worked with Matt Hennessy, former police employee who works with the gang task force, who's also admitted pedophile who admitted to raping his own relative for 5 years or so. And you know, this is a person who frequently hangs out with the mayor, the governor, attorney general. Then you have Terry Bean, who's currently on trial for having sex with a 15-year-old, who's personally funded Joanne Hardesty, Ted Wheeler, Nick Fish, Dan Saltzman, Steve Novick, the Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum, Kate Brown, Barbara Roberts, Al Gore, the Clintons, Barney Frank is Nick Fish's old boss, who was implicated in the child abduction and rape of Johnny Gosch. And that's not a conspiracy theory, that's actually in a book by a respected senator, Senator John DeCamp, The Franklin Cover-Up. And Nick Fish also, his relative, Peter Stuyvesant, was a Dutch colonialist that worked for the East India Corporation, that hated all Jews, Catholics, Quakers. He tortured Quakers. And so, you know, and then you got Ted Wheeler, a little Harvard oligarch that comes in running on a Democratic ticket when he's actually just a Republican.
Republican scumbag.
And he just came in, thought, and all the dumb voters of Portland bought it. During a Trump election cycle, all the progressives of Portland were so stupid that they elected Ted Wheeler, and they didn't even look into any of his stuff.
Coming up on 3 minutes, if you have any thoughts or recommendations, will be.
And now I'm currently facing criminal trials by Ted Wheeler, and by him and G4S. I was attacked at City Hall for filming a public meeting, city council meeting. The Joanne Hardesty was there too. She had nothing to say, but she did endorse G4S last week. $10 million contract for 5 years. Those guys are involved in Israeli detention centers, ICE facilities.
Torturing children.
So how is, you know, how can Joanne Hardesty, Ted Wheeler, all these different people on city council justify hiring a mercenary group that is like the equivalent of Blackwater, and then acting like they can handpick some board that's actually going to ever do anything? Like, this is all just a pathetic whitewash of reality.
And they cut the parks.
This is total like blue supremacist bullshit, you know. And that really is the true nature of this. This is just a gatekeeping operation to
You're at 4 minutes now.
Steer the
We're gonna
social
move on
engineering
to the next
programs, and you know, and really.
We're at 4 minutes.
Having the parks funded and stuff would actually help the youth, not Not all these bullshit gang program initiatives that are tied into the cops.
Thank you for your
directly
comments.
target them. And the drug war, give me a
Okay.
break. The
So, is there
CIA
any more
brings in all
public
the
comments
drugs.
related to the
This is
4
all-
recommendations
this is
that we
all-
have?
America is a fucking nightmare. We're
Okay, so I'm
living
gonna turn
in a
it back
dystopian
over to
nightmare
PCCEP
police
if
state.
there's any more thoughts.
Cause they up to no good, fucking dirty cops. Wanna slam me on the hood, dirty cops. Try to rob me from my